Usually Brett Dolan joins us on a Thursday, play-by-play for Touchdown Radio. I think we have a guest that's just as good, if not a little better, and he sits right next to Brett for most of the broadcast, is Gino Torretta, who is his color analyst and the owner and founder of Touchdown Radio, and also, of course, Heisman Trophy winner, quarterback at Miami, former NFL quarterback. And Gino, we appreciate your time today. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you guys doing?
Doing great. We're really excited about this Arkansas-LSU game. I know you must be as well. First of a couple of trips to Razorback Stadium, but would this be the first time you've ever been to Razorback Stadium? Because I know when you played against Arkansas in 91, it was in Little Rock at War Memorial.
It is not the first time, and I've been several times to Herman. So, yeah, I feel like I'm a local.
So how do you order your steak at Herman's then, and which one do you order?
The big T-bone.
Got the appetite for it as well. Arkansas versus LSU. This ought to be a really, really great game. We see Taylen Green healthy apparently and is not even on the availability report. Just going to give us your thoughts as you research both of these teams and what you think about the matchup this Saturday.
Well, I think it's going to be a great matchup. Obviously, the huge win. You had a tremendous environment against Tennessee. The week off, fortunately for Taylen, he's able to get back healthy from whatever the knee injury was. But very impressed with Arkansas's D. Really kind of getting after the quarterback at Nico at Tennessee. They have like 4 sacks through 3 quarters. So aggressive. I thought they adjusted well, and I think offensively, to move the ball like they did and not get points, to not be discouraged and just keep plugging along and pull out a victory in the end, I thought was pretty impressive. And it looked like one of the best environments that college football's had this season.
Gino, Matt Jones here. Hey, who's the best team you've seen so far this year in college football?
Oh, you know what, Matt? The crazy thing, we did Georgia Clemson week 2, and I was like, man, Georgia's just going to roll through their schedule. And then we did them a couple weeks later against Kentucky, and they got their butt whipped for essentially 60 minutes. And I think that with the transfer portal and guys moving, I think there is more parity, it seems like, in college football this year. And if you're not on your A game every single week, you can get beat, and that's especially any team in the SEC. I mean, obviously, we just saw Vandy, upset Alabama. I don't think this is different. It seems to be a different year where this isn't a year where there's 2 or 4 teams that are clearly head and shoulders above everybody else. I think, obviously, we saw Oregon and Ohio State kind of, go to the mat right down to the last thing, but I'm really, it's going to be one hell of a 12-team playoff at the end of the year, and I'm curious to see how the SEC really kind of shakes out, because there's going to be a lot more great teams that have losses as we progress.
It's kind of interesting how it all came together, and I think, the way that you put it, college football is a little bit lucky that the first year of the 12-team playoff coincides with this roster chaos with the transfer portal, which has led to the parity that you're talking about. Because the old thought used to be, well, there's only 3 teams every year who really look like they can win a national title. This doesn't feel like one of those years. But also the NCAA didn't plan on the portal being open like this when you first, when the idea of a 12-team playoff came out. So it feels to me like, it's a kismet, luck, whatever you want to call it, but it works out well.
Yeah, I would say this. Gone are the days of where we can read a Feel Still magazine in the summer and be like, hey, that offensive line has 300 starts. They should be able to be pretty good at the point of attack. And by the time August rolls around, there's only one of those offensive linemen left. So I don't think we're gonna see that. But on the other hand, there's 3 six-year quarterbacks that I'd probably say are all in the top 10 for the Heisman. So the more experience the quarterbacks get wherever they go, they seem to be successful, but it's a matter of putting the other pieces of the puzzle around them. And, even in the middle of the year, we have guys, kind of opting out, not happy with their playing time. They're good players. very good players, and so it's quickly changing in front of our eyes.
Gino, if I'm talking to young kids or high school kids, I tell them to watch how Derek Carr plays quarterback for the Saints. And everybody doesn't have the talent of a Patrick Mahomes, but who are some of the quarterbacks in the NFL right now that you really like the way they go about it and how they play?
Well, I think Mahomes is obviously just an incredible arm talent of how he can move around and really throw the ball with tremendous velocity from all angles. I'd probably say you look at Purdy in the 49ers, he just processes so quickly, and he's not the biggest, fastest guy in the world. I always thought in the NFL there might be 4 or 5 guys where you look at and you're like, wow, they clearly throw it better than everybody else. But, pretty much everybody's about the same. It's a matter of how quickly you can manipulate the defense, how quickly you can learn that offense. Peyton Manning wasn't a Hall of Famer his rookie year. It took time. It took years in the same Tom Moore offense. And, Hall of Famers around him with Edgar and the Dallas Clark and those guys. So I think that, it's the hardest heck to get there, but it's a never-ending process of continuing to work hard, with your not only your physical traits but the mental side. And and I think in college football, the guys that process the quickest offensively are the guys that are become the most successful.
Hey, and then I had a couple quarterback questions. You can't blame me for having you on. With Cam Ward at Miami, and I'm trying to project to the next level, and a lot of people talking about Shedeur Sanders. I think Quinn Ewers might be the best prospect that goes up to the next level. You got guys like Dylan Gates. Do you think Shedeur Sanders has a strong enough arm to play on Sundays?
I do. He's very accurate. We saw him against Nebraska. Now, their offensive line struggled that week. Nebraska had some pretty good scheme against him, but he can make all the throws sideline to sidelines. I think Cam Ward's an incredible talent, arm talent as well, very accurate with the ball. He gets, a little laissez-faire with it at times, holds on to it too long and waits, and he takes unnecessary hits. I broadcast the Cal-Miami game, and I'm like, if I'm his quarterback coach, I don't want to see my guy take hits. If the defense guesses right and everybody's covered, just throw the ball away and go to 2nd and 10. But he has a tendency to do that. Ewers, you might be right, top end, he's got everything. Beck at Georgia seems to have everything. I don't know if they pull the reins on him some, because it sure – seems like, in the Kentucky game, they'd have a 3-man front. They're plus 10 going in, and he doesn't audible a run. Like, clearly, I can see it. Everybody can see it in the stadium that they're playing pass. It's just handoff, and he didn't audible. The one guy I would even say, and I just saw him at Penn State USC, Drew Aller is very talented. He's big. He can move well enough. And another guy which I would love to, kind of see him with an offensive guy like Petrino, where they let him go out there and sling it, because he's got the arm talent to win football games at that position.
What do you think of Taylen Green, Arkansas quarterback? He's really, really exciting, about as athletic as the guys we've seen here since maybe the guy that I'm hosting the show with. But we're wondering if he's at 100%. He's not on the availability report, but Sam did say earlier in the week, and I think he even mentioned it on the teleconference yesterday, not 100%, but he's going to start. He's going to play, and I think we might learn a little about him as a quarterback if he's even limited a little bit with his mobility.
Well, I would say this, that even if he's limited a little bit with his mobility, he made some throws in the fourth quarter down the sideline and cover 2. Like a fade route and just a seam route, just a bullet right in front of the safety. Very impressive throws. I think Petrino's good friends with Coach Erickson, my head coach. A lot of the scheme stuff is similar to what we ran at Miami, so maybe he puts a little bit more of stay in the pocket. They like, Bobby likes those naked bootlegs, and I would not want pressure in the face of Taylen, coming off that injury. 'Cause like you said, if he's not 100%, but he's got the size, he has the arm ability, and I think that as the season has progressed, he has gotten better. I mean, listen, Arkansas is some turnovers away from really being undefeated. I mean, that's the way I look at it, and that's on the quarterback being more comfortable in a scheme and in a system. But no, I think the sky's the limit with Green. I think he has arm size, talent. He can drop it sideways, and he's got the athleticism. So that's what's going to be fun to watch. I wouldn't want to be a D coordinator calling defenses against some of these guys, but
Gino, the SEC it's thick this week. There's a lot of good games. Which one of these teams? You got Alabama, Tennessee, Georgia, Texas. Easy enough to say take both home teams. Which one of these teams do you see on the road? Can Alabama go into Knoxville, beat Tennessee, or do you think Georgia has a better chance going to Austin to beat Texas?
Personally, I would say Alabama. For whatever reason, with Tennessee, you guys played them well defensively. I think their offense hasn't been hitting on all cylinders, and that's why I'd give Alabama the best chance. I think of all these teams where, is there clearly somebody better than the rest? I might give a slight edge to Texas, and I'm not so sure. Maybe Georgia's back at full strength. Their DN Michael, is he back at full strength? Because they went after him at Kentucky, kind of clipped him, or Clemson clipped him in the leg. So if Georgia's back to full strength, maybe they are better than what I saw. I'm just going by what my eyes saw the last time against Kentucky. But I would take Texas at home and Alabama on the road, just because Tennessee's kind of struggled offensively, and I don't know. The one thing I did like defensively, how you guys played them, how Arkansas played them. They would rush three, and then they wouldn't play prevent defense underneath it. They wouldn't drop to zones. It was almost like the defenders underneath turned and looked dialed up the receiver, so it looked like man under, three deep, in a three-man rush. And it totally threw off the quarterback and the scheme, and it was successful.
Hey, last thing, Gino, and just kind of on the perspective that you have as a Heisman Trophy winner, does it mean the same thing now that it did when you won it? I was looking in the 90s, and it wasn't specifically an award that went to the best quarterback of the best, the starting quarterback for the best team. You had running backs that won it. You had Charles Woodson won it in that decade as well. And it seems it's been much more reserved for quarterback on the best team, or who's ever the quarterback that's had the best season right now. And I wonder, is that just a matter of it being reflective on the current state of what college football looks like? What does this award mean to you now?
I think that, I think it's the greatest award in sports, to be honest. I mean, not just because I won it. It's just, it follows the winner through his lifetime. I mean, it's a tremendous honor, but it's also, can be a burden at times as a winner because of that attention that comes with it. But I would say that I don't think it's just the top quarterback. I think the college football game from when I played has completely changed. I mean, half my team might be ejected on some of the hits that were legal back in the day. And so you think of the aggressive nature of that. I think that, we had, we probably ran 60 plays in a game. Teams were running 80 to 100. So the rules have deemed that, listen, you can pass easier. I mean, it's frustrating to me when I go and watch a game that nobody gets under center. And if I was a running back, if I was McFadden in the backfield, I'd be highly upset. I would not like taking a handoff sideways and trying to figure it out. And I think that running backs are better when they take a handoff going at the line of scrimmage and you give them a cutback lane backside or outside in the play side. And to me, it opens up so much more. So I would like to see more under center, but the game has become, it's almost turned into a 7-on-7. And if you can pressure a quarterback with a D-line with 4 guys rushing, then, defensively you got a chance. But I would also think this year, based on how we've gone through this start, you got the running back at Boise State. You got a 2-way star at Colorado. Hell, I just did the Penn State's tight end had 17 catches for 200 and something yards. He'd snapped the ball, threw a ball, ran a ball, and I'm like, that's the way I look at it. Is like, okay, individually, I want to see a performance, and I'm going to vote for the best performer. It's not always, just the best quarterback. I've voted for defensive guys that really had no chance just because I thought they were the best player with my own eyes when I went and watched it and broadcasted the game.
Gino, we'll leave it there. I appreciate you making time for us today. Really enjoy the conversation. Have a good call, safe travels here, and give Brett a little elbow in the ribs on Saturday for us, okay?
Sounds good. See you guys this weekend.
Thanks, Gino.
BetOnline is your #1 source for all your betting needs. Get the latest odds, lines, and matchup reports for baseball, boxing, golf, and more. BetOnline continues to be the fastest and easiest way to place your wagers, including live betting and your favorite casino and card games available to play right from your phone. Head to the website or use your mobile device to sign up today and get in on the action. Remember to use our promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, for your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Bet online, where the game starts.